Hello, everybody. We're going to talk about actualization, and that is having something show up in your reality. And there are two parts to this. One is what you're broadcasting to yourself, to others, what you're telling yourself. I can't do this, or yeah, piece of cake, or something in between, or oh, I'd rather go on Facebook for 30 minutes. Sometimes we distract ourselves from what we say we truly desire. And so then we, again, have to peek back into, is this truly my desire? And also, is now the time? Okay. And I'm going to talk about that just briefly before I go back to the two parts. Okay, so is now the time? Well, let me tell you a personal experience with that. I created the book called Relationships Done Easy, and that idea came to me after being published in I'm Having It. I wrote about the choice to move to Hawaii and some of the tools that I use, and I share most of those and more in the program. Like the idea for Relationships Done Easy came right after that. And I said, okay, cool. I will create you. I always talk with a project, and that's what I encourage you all who wrote in the survey. You would like more abundance with projects and creations. Talk to your creations. And I said, is now the time? And I got a clear November. Okay, so the time was like, when I was asking this was September. So it was not too long before November. And then once November came, it wasn't time to get started right away. I had to ask again, is now the time? And it wasn't until toward the end of November. So sometimes if we start to get started and it feels like pushing or moving through quicksand, it's just not time yet. You may not have met that certain person who's going to catalyze your idea forward. You may not have read the book or received the information that's really going to contribute more. So just asking the question, is now the time, can really save you some headaches. Okay, so back to broadcasting, right? Broadcasting, what energy you're being and what you're telling yourself. Okay, so this is the first piece, and we're going to do an energy pull in a little bit. Hopefully we'll have some more quiet. And then and this also, before I go on, has to do with the stories you tell yourself. Oh, my family is this way. Oh, we don't do that, right? Oh, my mother would get so offended if I chose that. My mother told me at one point, I was in my early 20s, she's like, well, Kathy, life is not all about workshops. And I really made that true for me for a long time until I was like, well, that's her point of view. I can choose my life. And now I do workshops around the world. Go figure. And so we can make someone's story real for us until we don't. And there's no wrongness in that choice at all. The second is what you are doing in the world. Okay, first is what you're broadcasting. Second is what you're doing. And I'm going to bring this to 4 A's in just a moment. And these A's are pretty easy to remember. I used to think it was 3 A's until today. And then I realized, oh, there's the 4th A. All right, so what you're doing in the world. And that is, if you want to have a class, but you don't tell anyone the class is happening, the class might not actually happen. If you want to get a date, but don't swipe left or right, that date might not actually happen. This is a world in which it's both energetic and physical, and you do have to take action. So let's bring that into the 4 A's. So the first A, we talked about in the Facebook Live, asking, right? You ask a question that leads to awareness. And I give this story about the beach and having an event at the beach. So you ask a question, and that always opens the door to awareness of the possibilities, awareness of what's available. Then after that, you act on your awareness. And the action might not be a physical action in the world, it might actually be changing your energy, though oftentimes it will be a physical action in the world. So I told you I talked to my project, which was the Relationships Done Easy book. And so I would say to it, okay, what would you like me to do today? And sit with that. And then it might be contact this person, or I might just be on Facebook or something and be like, whoa, there is such an energy to reach out to that person and ask if they'll be in the book. So I got awareness. Then I had to act on that awareness. Otherwise, the book never would have come into physical actualization. All right? So ask, you get awareness, you act on your awareness. Now, those were my 3 A's. And then I was like, oh, the 4th A is there are always possibilities. No matter what you've judged about the choice you made, if you'll drop that judgment, there are always other possibilities available. Okay? But when you've concluded that something was a wrong choice, you dynamically cut off what's available. Okay? So ask, you get awareness, act on that awareness, and recognize that there's always another choice available. Moksha clearly wanted to participate. So I just got a ding on my calendar to go do the Kahuna exercise, which is an exercise I learned when I worked for 2 years with a Hawaiian shaman. She taught some phenomenal energy work, and the Kahuna exercise is something that is an attractive exercise on the causal plane. We're going to do in the 2-month program, but I love hearing from the people who have learned it because they're like, it works every time. And I'm like, I know, it's really cool to bring in people and experiences that you're asking for. So, what can you act upon, right? And so if you look at your desires, again, your desire for abundance and the energy that brings to you, that energy is also going to have some sub-energies. What do I mean by that? I mean, kind of supporting energies. If abundance were a soup, that soup has salt, and it probably has some kind of stock, chicken stock or vegetable base or whatever it is, and it might have pepper and cumin or turmeric or whatever you like to add to your soup. So the abundance consists of various energies. For me, one of those energies is ease and flow. Right? If I didn't have ease and flow, it wouldn't be abundance to me. One of those is the sense of being masterful, having mastered something, or even being masterful in my presence, being really present with someone. So those, you can start to look at, and we go in this deeper in the 2 months, but start to look at like, if something were missing for you, that wouldn't quite be abundance. Right? For some people, it means being treated super well, like a VIP or whatever. For me, I don't really care about that. I mean, I like to be treated well, but whatever. And so for each person, they're going to be different, right? For some people, that's very meaningful for them, and for me, it's not. So start to look at those guideposts of, this is abundant to me, and this is, I don't really need this quality. And look at the reason I bring those in, it might be a bit much now, is those help shape and guide your choices. And again, so take a look at a choice you're going to make, that you have to make, and start to look at one of the questions that we asked yesterday. If I choose this one option, what will my life be like? What future will that create? And if I don't choose it, what future will that create? Maybe it's to go on a trip. If I choose to go on the trip, what future will that create? Is it expansive? Is it contractive? If I don't choose to go on that trip, what future will that create? Is it expansive? Is it contractive? So playing with that question, then with your awareness, taking an action if there's an action to be taken. How do I get more clients, universe? What would it take? How is not always the best question, because how is the universe's job? But universe, send me clients who have lots of money to pay me, whatever it is. Okay, what would it take for me to have that show up? And then you've just asked a question. It's opening the door to awareness. Oh, create a really nice rack card, or get your business card out, or whatever. And then be willing to take that action. And not just be willing, but actually take it or have someone else do it for you. Okay? Because that sometimes is where we stick ourselves, or don't follow through. And if you don't follow through, you can ask, as I've seen people do, what else is possible? What else is possible? What else is possible? Forever. But if you get in awareness and don't act on it, what else is possible is not truly going to occur. So I hope that was not too much. You might like to watch the video a couple of times if it was too much. But the real thing is there's always another possibility available. Let go of any judgment that any of your choices have ever been wrong. Okay? And ask awareness, act on your awareness, and then be aware, or acknowledge that there is always, that's the fourth A, always another choice, another possibility available. If you do that, those 9 areas that stick a lot of people won't stick you, because you'll always have another choice available. In the meditative exercise today, I'm going to lead you through expanding out, which is great when you're feeling emotionally sticky, and then into an energy pull, which engages energetically every molecule of the universe to support you. All right? And it's willing, right? The universe is always saying yes. What are you asking? Whether it's with words or with your vibration, you're constantly asking. All right, guys, let me know your questions. I'd love to hear from you. And tomorrow we'll be doing another Facebook Live, particularly for questions and for clarification and for expansion. All right, have a good one. Aloha.